Putting this shir on Yud Aleph Nissen, Yom Skula. It's a perfect day to be able to record this. So we're learning the Sicha of Boy Dalid in Chelik Tezayin, which is an Achron Shel Pesach. Sicha originally, and the following Shabbos Parsha Shmini, Tavshin Chavav. So Achron Shel Pesach, the Rebbe would always farbrengen at the end of a Yom Tif, right? The second day of Shavuos, Simchas Torah, and Achron Shel Pesach. So that was said, there was a mimer, the Tzemach Tzedek arrived here in a miraculous way a few days ago through a rabbi of Iran that made Aliyat Eretz Yisrael, and amongst his community there was a Jew from Algiers who had somehow a bichel of the Maimorim of the Tzemach Tzedek, and when he saw that the words over there are hard for him to understand, he gave it to the rabbi, and the rabbi had obviously a lot of other books to read, to learn, sent it here. And the Rebbe said, in this bichel, there are Maimorim that are in other bichlach, but there are also Maimorim, including this mimer, that I didn't find any bichlach. And at the end of this mimer, the Tzemach Tzedek explains the idea of matzah shida lechamoni, the way it's avodas Hashem. And according to this, also you could explain the thing in Nigla, which is just interesting. So we have some of the Maimorim of Tzemach Tzedek from a Jew of Algiers. Mazel tov. Then the Rebbe continues and says regarding the Isa Shnei Loisha dough that was made with Meipedes, Shulchan Aruch Hadal to Rebbe, etc. And the Rebbe goes into the whole halacha issue of it and talks about it quite extensively. The Rebbe then suggests to maybe explain the words of Al Rebbe according to Maral, etc. I'm not going to go into the whole lumdus of it. Then it went on for quite a while. Then the Rebbe went into what we learned in the actual Sicha, Lechamoni Nilish Lak B'Mayim, Ein Tam, shows on Kabbalah's oil, etc. And the Rebbe points out on the idea that Lechamoni, which is only made with water, has no tam. Therefore, only someone who's drinking water Litzamei, because they're thirsty, needs to drink. But if you're not thirsty, you don't have to drink, because there's no pleasure. Mayim itself has no tam. And then when the Rebbe spoke about the idea of that you have to become from Avdei Par, you have to become Avdei Hashem, and you have to have Avodah Mitoch Kabbalah's oil, and the Rebbe says that the Rebbe went on to say that's only the beginning of the Avodah, because a person's born as a wild animal. You can't start being an Eved Hashem. The only way to start is by pushing yourself, by breaking the Ra. But after you have the Avodah of Kabbalah's oil, then you also have to have the Avodah of Chabad, and to try to understand as much as you possibly can, like it says in Hilchos Talmud Torah, that whoever was able to understand and learn more and was lazy and didn't, has to come again in a Gilgul until they're able to live through this experience and go through it again. Then when the Rebbe spoke about the idea of if you only have Kabbalah's oil, you could come to Chimutz. You just do it because Kabbalah Sod Malchus Shamayim without Metzias Adam, etc. That we spoke about the idea that continues on the idea that someone who makes a little wink in front of a king, it's a problematic. That's dafka by a melech, because the Torah gives the melech incredible koyach, etc. Fine. Then the Rebbe went on to explain the words of the Alter Rebbe. They continues the whole idea of matzah ashira, etc. The way the Rebbe spoke, and the Rebbe then went on to learn Hayra in generally by Yetzias Mitzrayim. There's a time that a yid is in a situation where he's not shaykh to something negative because he's doing Torah mitzvahs, but nevertheless you always have to be careful of the Yetzirah Pesach Chatas Leivitz. Therefore you have to have Yetzias Mitzrayim every single day, not only once a day. You have to have it twice a day. You have to say in the morning and in the night. Even at night, when you literally have to top the van, you have to touch the walls to know where you're going. You always have to remember Kriya Shema, and that's how you have the shleimus of the Avodah. Fine. Then the Rebbe went on in the other farbrengen with the following farbrengen, Parshas Shmini. Here we see that he continued the explanation that he said in Achron Shel Pesach regarding matzah shira. And then he went on to say like this. The Rebbe went on. Bahira is the amazing thing of Iskafia, that was the Avodah of Yetzias Mitzrayim. We had to literally run away So much so, had they stayed in Mitzrayim one more second, they would have gone deeper into Shadei Tumah, and they wouldn't have been able to go out, even through Moshe, because Moshe only had 49 Shadim, and he was lacking the Shar Anun, so he wouldn't have been able to take them out if they had fallen into Shar Anun. Now, Iskafia is not a small thing. The Tzemach Tzedek's mimer that we learned, I think they referenced in the previous farbrengens, that's the way it mentions that Dafka through Iskafia, you come b'chol ma'adecha. And we could add that even in Sfir Sa'imah, that the Avodah is to go into Ishapcha, you turn from Sa'idim and then you make Michael Adam. Nevertheless, there's always the idea of Iskafia, because each day you're working on one midah, Chesed Shebechesed, etc., to turn Chesed Shebechesed L'umazeh and Chesed Shebechesed L'Kedusha. So that midah that you transform that day, Taki Yad Ishapcha, but the rest of the middays, you only have Iskafia. Basically, that was arguing because in the Sicha it seems to say that Iskafia is only step one and Ishapcha is the ultimate goal. But that was saying over here that Iskafia also has a role. And so from here we can learn from the general Avodah in our time, which is similar to Avodah Sfir Sa'imeh. They prepared to Matan Torah, we're preparing for Mashiach, that you have to use out the Avodah of Iskafia before there'll come the days that will no longer want to do any Avedahs, as it says in Koheles. And like the Fidik Rebbe says, that we'll miss the days of the Avodah of Galus. By Iker, we should be zeichet to the Gilu Knimis HaTorah Lased Lavai, that Yeshikein and Shikes Pio, Vies Mashiach Tzikeinu B'Kadav Yameinu Mamish. B'chlal, this Sicha of Shmini, earlier in the Sicha, incredible oisius about why you need a Rebbe, and other fascinating things that were in this farbrengen.